Pringle looking towards Agard. Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello again and welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. I have another special episode for you again today. First of all, I'll introduce my friends Mick and Danny. Hello, thank you for joining us, boys.
Hello.
And we have a fan's favourite from some very good times at Rotherham United, Kirk Broadfoot, joining us. Thanks for joining us, Kirk.
Pleasure, thanks for having me.
So what I'd like to do with these sort of things is sort of, where are you now? I know you're at Inverness, Caledonia. This is one of my favourite club names in the UK. How's things going up there?
Yeah, we got off to a pretty good start, to be honest. How I came about being up here was kind of a long story. Obviously, I left my local club, Kilmarnock. It was pretty much on my doorstep. We get relegated. It was a weird season with COVID, things like that. Didn't help us. So I wasn't sure whether I was going to keep playing, if I was being honest. It kind of put a downer on me after getting relegated a couple of weeks, and then I get bored and I was back in the gym, as I do. I had a couple of options, and then I spoke to Inverness for must have been 4 weeks during the summer, and the manager was great with me. He knew that I didn't want to move away, because I said when I left Rotherham, I moved home for my family. That was me. I was settled. I wasn't moving again. Some of my kids are in school, wife. So it was just one of those ones that he says he would help me out. It wouldn't be a full week. It would be come up near the end of the week and play the game on the weekend and look after myself during the week. So yeah, it's worked out well. As I say, we've off to a good start and long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So are you travelling up there every game for every game then?
So obviously the home games are up here the Thursday, Friday for the game Saturday, but most games are pretty much Glasgow, so I'll be back home on the Friday and then travel there. So it works out great. The reason why I come up here is because I think Inverness have got a good squad and we've got a chance of challenging. I didn't want to just go to a club and see out my career just playing middle of the table, fighting relegation after coming off a relegation. So that was the reason why I chose Inverness, even though it was quite a bit away from home, to be honest.
It's a hell of a journey. It's a hell of a journey from anywhere.
Yeah, not the best road in the world either, to be honest.
Let's go back to when you first signed for Rotherham. We've talked to a few other Rotherham players who signed for Steve Evans. What was Steve Evans' sell to get you to the club?
See, I didn't know nothing about Steve Evans when I first joined Rotherham. I met him when I actually met him during the summer a few times. He was a great guy, talking away, brilliant, great stories. I thought, oh, this is a good guy. Go and play for him. Ended up coming down, and then got an eye opener, if I'm being honest. Some of the things that were going on, I couldn't get my head around it. If I'm being honest, it took me 3, 4, 5 months to get my head around it at the beginning of the season. And I don't like to say that, but it did. It didn't help my football. If anything, I probably tried to get out the first 3, 4 months. And then eventually, my wife and myself were like, we've moved here, we've bought a house, we've got kids. Just get your head around it and go on with it. And I did. I buckled down, I battered the gym, I got on with it. And then, unfortunately, I broke my collarbone as I got my head around everything. And then get back for that. And then the rest is history that season, really.
Yeah, we've spoke to Carrie Arneson, Ben Pringle, and Michael O'Connor. So we know how chaotic it could be under Steve Evans.
Yeah, but as much as it was chaotic, it got results, and you can't argue with that.
Yeah. No, definitely. So you say you didn't know much about Steve Evans. Does that mean when you came in, Steve Evans had a lot of turnover of players, and it worked? Like I said, it got results. Is that something you heard of and knew of beforehand, that there could be that high, potentially for yourself, a turnover of players?
No, really, to be honest, because, well, obviously you do a bit of research once there's a bit of interest, but you're thinking when you're going up to the championship level, it would calm down a bit where the players coming and going, because you'd like to think that the club would attract probably a higher standard of player. Not to say that I didn't think the squad was good, but you would think, obviously, going up to the championship, that players will look to go to Rotherham that were playing championship, lower league, even Premier League, because your championship at the end of the day is probably a mini Premier League. But still, we went and signed about 25 players that summer, and what must have been 6 weeks, it was 9 away. So yeah, it actually worked for him. And if he wasn't mentally strong or up for it, then you would be fade away, to be honest. But I think in the end it brought the group closer, and maybe that's why he did it. As I say, it got results, and it did bring the group closer, and the boys ended up fighting for each other, to be honest.
What's it like coming into that group? Because obviously that group just won at Wembley, so the players that were already there would have been buzzing because you've just come off a promotion. What was it like coming into that group? Was it a great bunch of lads that tried to get integrated quite easily, or what was that sort of first month or two like, the player point of view?
To be fair, yeah, I think obviously the group that were there, if I'm being honest, they probably had a wee chip on their shoulder, the likes of myself, Matty Adaptation, and that coming, because they done the work to get up there, and we're coming here probably on more wages than them, because that was the talk at the time, because they were annoyed that they didn't get new contracts and things like that. But that's not the players' fault. That's got to come from above. But once you get to know everyone and they get to know you, it kind of settles down a bit, and then you get on with things. But as I say, I was quite a strong character, and I stood up for myself. So I think the boys liked the fact that I stood up against Steve, and Steve will probably say that to you, that we did have our clashes a lot, but we ended up having a good relationship in the end, to be honest. I think maybe it's a Scottish thing, I don't know. But at the end of the day, when I got my head round and get it down, and he played me in my position, it helped.
I was going to ask about that, because the first not even 10 games, you were playing everywhere, right back, left back, trying to centre back, and you're playing left everywhere. That, again, you talk about MS in your head, that's also got to play in your head a little bit, that you play me in best position and I'll play.
Yeah, well, I did say that to him. If you play me centre back, that'll be my best position. But injuries at the time didn't help. Fraser got injured. We didn't really have a left back, a couple of injuries. And at the time, I just wanted to play. It was one of those, like, do I say no, do I not? But you're helping your teammates. You're not doing it out of spite. You try to help your teammates. But I knew that centre half was my best position. Yeah, I played there at Rangers full back and that, but when I went to Blackpool, I was a centre back, and that's what I came to Rotherham as a centre back, and that's what I was told I was playing. But as I said, you're there to help your teammates, and that's what I did at the time.
Is it? Do you think is it a Rotherham United thing, this, or is it across all clubs? With looking at our Wes Harding, who plays for us now as a centre back, he's played right back, right wing back, left wing back, left side of a back three, right side of a back three. The only place he hasn't played is the centre of the back three. It seems to be. Yeah, is it just Rotherham United, or is it happening across football?
Well, I think sometimes you can take that as a compliment, because if you're just an out-and-out centre-back, like the old school, could you play full-back? Could you play left wing-back? It means that he can play, because he can play their positions. And he doesn't get probably the credit he deserves because he's probably seen as that utility player. But I bet his teammates and his manager appreciates that he can fill in at their positions. So it's one of those. It's sometimes the player will annoyed that he doesn't get to play his position, but in the fact that he's doing a job for the team in the club.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. We absolutely love him. But it's just you do wonder how it affects a player. Playing out of position almost constantly. So
I get that. Yeah, it annoyed me as well, but as I say, you're doing it for the team.
Yeah.
Interesting season. It felt like a stop-start season. I know you were in that team, but as a team, we never seemed to get that 5 or 6 games where we went on an amazing run. It would always we won 1 or 2 games. We then went on 5 or 6 games where we didn't win. I suppose that's the sign of a relegation fighting team. But is it difficult to find that consistency when you can't just get those sort of running results together?
Good question. It's a hard one to say, really. Maybe that was just a step up because maybe the players could get away with 1 or 2 mistakes in League One than they didn't in the Championship. And once you're down 1 or 2-0, it's hard to come back in that league. It was unforgiving, as you've probably seen as fans. But it's a hard one to say, but maybe it was just because of the style of play. We wasn't really a possession-based team at that time. It was more get it up and play off seconds. Whereas maybe if we were a possession-based team, we would have kept the ball in a more consistency. But it's hard to tell. It is really hard to tell. But it just depends what the club wants at the time. And I think staying up was the main aim.
Yeah. That's fair. Is there any games that stand out? There's a couple I want to mention. The Huddersfield game away, when I think Arnie and Connor Salmon scored. And I seem to recall Ferran Rawson got parachuted in at about 11 o'clock that day. And you played alongside him, am I right?
Yep, that's right.
I was that just sort of schooling a young kid on a bit of league game.
Yeah, you could say that. But to be fair, the big play, he's done well for us. He wasn't scared to put his head in as well. So for a young lad, I think that was his actual league debut. Was it?
I think it was, yeah.
So to be fair, and obviously you had Arnie in front of you, who was probably more defensive minded, who could play as well in the midfield. I think it was probably a good game for him because it was quite a pressure game. We had to really win that, and lucky enough we did.
Yeah, it was a great day, that one. I really enjoyed that day.
How many derbies down there?
Tell me about it. It's great. Every other week you're playing a local team. It's brilliant. We talk about Ferran Rawson. He brought his own problems, not his problems, I suppose, but the 3-point deduction for registration issues. That was you're fighting for relegation, and then that happens. It must be an absolute kick in the gut as a player to fight for that 3 points and then stripped away.
Yeah, obviously, because I think that was the Brighton game, was it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and they taken them away. Yeah, I think some of the boys said at training after that's us were relegated, and a few of the older ones had to say, no, we've plenty of games, relax. But it was hard to take, especially when you go in. I think that was the Easter weekend when you go. I think it was Friday, Monday. So I think they picked up. Was it 4 points or 6? But anyway, it was probably looking a wee bit more healthier in the league, and then to go and get that, it's a bit hard, I think. But these things happen. I'd probably someone get a sack for that.
I say you don't really see ineligible player in modern football, do you? That's rare, especially like in England and in Scotland, it's a very rare thing in professional football these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thankfully. If one club's going to do it, it's going to be Rotherham United, isn't it? Come on.
Well, you've got Steve Evans in charge as well. You know, anything that could go wrong like that, anything that's going to upset FA or EFL, it's going to come from Steve Evans, isn't it?
He loved the argument, didn't he?
Yeah.
To be fair to him, he used it though, didn't he? I said in his interview, I think it was after that he basically said, used the phrase, "They don't want us in this league," and I imagine, although it's a bit of a daft thing to say, it galvanised the fans, and I assume it galvanised the players as well a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as I said, as crazy as he was, I think there was methods to his madness. He just got everybody together. And just wee comments like that, it was good. It was good in the media. He knew how to work them, and it brought everyone together.
Mm-hmm. I'm finishing on that season, the Reading game, which secured survival. There's been a number of great nights at New York. That was a great night at New York. If you're playing that game, talk us through the build-up to the game, knowing that win is survival.
Obviously, it's a huge game, but I'm one of those players. I don't get too high. I don't really get too low. I try and keep level, because if you get too high, you can get shot back down too quick, and if you get too low, then you're going to get disappointed an awful lot, because there's an awful lot of disappointments in football, to be honest. So I just playing it as another game, really. At that point of the season, I got my fitness, so I was playing my position. I felt like we were going into this game in a good position that we could win it. And luckily enough we did, but I actually ended in quite a sore note for myself. I'm off injured. I done my medial that game, and I ended up missing the Leeds game, the last game of the season. So I had to go and do a rehab all summer to make sure I was ready for next season. Bearing in mind, I could have done that at the beginning of the season after what happened, but yeah. So it was great to stay up. Great celebrations after. All the boys went out. I actually never went. I was in crutches, so yeah, it just one bad luck after another. But I was just delighted that we stayed up, and it was at the end of the day, it was job done.
Yeah. As that is a player, we've done that. We've achieved what we achieved. I can sort of obviously have to do a rehab, but you've got that sense of pride because you've done it. Whether sometimes it's promotion, sometimes it's survival. You've done what you've aimed for. And for me, it was a big achievement at the time.
Yeah, it's huge. Especially as you say, losing the 3 points. I don't think anybody thought we would have stayed up. Let's be honest about that. I don't think they did. So especially Millwall saying that we would go down as well. So it was a wee bit getting back at them. So yeah, it was a great achievement. And looking back at that season, really, as you say, it was stop-start personally from a personal point of view, and I was a wee bit disappointed it ended the way it did. With obviously getting the injury, because I felt as if, as I said, I was just getting fit, getting to play my position, and actually getting a run of games to show what I could do. So that's why I was determined in the off season to come back fit, and then obviously got the bad news when I come back. So as I say, it was a bit stop-start to my Rotherham career, but as I said, I moved my family down there that first season, and we actually loved it there.
So when that season ended and actually you survived, we'll talk about what a little bit more about what happened at the start of the next season. But it's like if you settled, there must be a positive feeling like next season we've stayed up. It was a busy summer transfer-wise. There must be a positive feeling that we can kick on and not just be, let's stay up, let's push our higher up.
Yeah, well, from a personal point of view, we were hoping to do that, and I think the manager was as well. You would like to think the club was as well, but no one knows what upstairs is thinking. But you would think that we would push on. Not saying we're going to get promoted, but at least middle of the table, up in top half. But it didn't go off to a great start, result-wise, and obviously from a personal point of view. But as I say, who can say what's going to happen in football? It's one of those things that everybody plans to go for promotion and things like that, but if you don't get off to the best start, it can hamper your season, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's touch on the 10-game ban that came in. I know you can't talk about certain things, so if I ask too much, just tell me to shut up and we'll stop. How late did you get told about the 10-game ban? Because we found out it felt for us as fans it was quite close to the start of the season. Were you aware of anything happening in the meantime, or was it just sort of sprung on?
No, it was probably for July, June, July. It was going on. It wasn't actually the ban. It happened that I had to go to court and things like that. So that all happened, and then, as I say, an injunction got put on it. So that's how it never came out. And then someone leaked it, and then that's why it came out. That's why it came out so late. So,
right, okay, fair enough. But to get 10 games at the start of the season, 10 games at any time is a bad time of the season. But as fans, you're looking forward to that August date because that's when football's back. And you said you've had a lot of rehab, so you're obviously working towards that. How much of that's a really silly question. How much of a blow is that to miss first 10 games of the season? To be absolutely busting.
Yeah, I was devastated. I'm not going to lie. I was gobsmacked. I couldn't believe I actually get guilty in the first place, and the punishment they gave me. So, as I say, footballers who just want to play football, and they took that away from me. But as I said, I had a bad injury. It gave me a chance to get fit, and I really did get super fit. I worked with Paul, probably the fittest I've ever been, to be honest, in my career. And the amount of running we did, it wasn't as if the manager was the type of guy and say, "Oh, you've got 10 weeks, I'll be in a week holiday." I was in every day, and I'm talking proper hard running. So it was one of those. Yeah, it wasn't great, and I'm not going to lie. Probably best that it happened in England with the amount of games that come off at the beginning of the season with Cup. But I used it as a positive. I tried to use it as I'm going to get so fit and get back and get in this team and show everybody. So as I say, I fit at the end of the season before, and I wanted to kick on and show everybody that was the proper player that I was after the 10-game ban.
I assume the club is. I'm assuming if I'm wrong, again, tell me that the club were very supportive of your Steve Evans as the manager. It seems like a good guy to have in your corner type of thing.
In terms of
the support, the situation you went through, and then the helping you, like I said, when the training in the pre-season, and making sure you were still part of the squad.
Yeah, they were supportive. I trained every day with the team. The chief exec came with me to the hearing as well. But the only thing that I probably will say is like, when I got found guilty and the club were there and they seen all the evidence and knew that I was wrongly done, they then fined me a lot of money.
Right, okay.
So,
wow.
Pretty much the whole time I was banned, I never get paid.
Wow. Okay, that sounds very harsh, yeah. That's... You've took us all the way back there. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's poor that. It feels, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's like 2 bites of cherry, isn't it? 2 or 3 bites of cherry, and it's just. Yeah. It's. But I don't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, probably less we speak about that the better.
I'm trying to think of a positive spin to put on that. I'm trying to make an excuse now in my head. I'm thinking, well, maybe EFL have said you're going to have to take a sanction as well.
Well, they fined me as well.
Yeah, I know they did. Yeah, I know.
How many fines did you get?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And lawyer fees.
Jesus Christ!
Wow.
Yeah, that was an expensive one, but
yeah.
They just seen it as I couldn't play, so why should they pay me? So it was one of those.
Yeah,
that's bizarre. Not good.
No, I agree. But let's move forward.
I was saying, Matt, I could see you frantically going through your notes going, what's the next positive thing to talk about?
Well, that's what we're here for, to talk about it, isn't it?
I can see their point from a business point of view. At the end of the day, football clubs use it as a business. It's a business point of view. I just got my head down and worked and said I'd get back in that team. And as I say, I was lucky enough, I was in England, that there was loads of games. You had 2 games a week. So within 5 weeks, I was back, really.
Yeah, you were back within 5 weeks, but not back quick enough to play under Steve Evans again. I think it was the last.
I made the bench. All right.
Yeah, he made the bench the game before he went the Birmingham game. Again, something else that completely came out of the blue as Rotherham fans. We had a poor start, but then won 2 games, and then it was see you later, Steve. I'm interested to know in general what a sack is like, but this one in particular seems a very strange time to get rid of the manager. Yeah,
especially after 2 wins in the bounce. I don't think any of the players seen it coming. I never seen it coming. It was a strange one. I don't know whether there was a fallout or anything, but we never seen it coming. And then, it was just a strange 2 wins in the bounce, and then you get the chop for probably should I get the chop before he won the 2 in the bounce. If you're going to chop anyone, but to chop someone after 2 wins in the bounce was strange, really.
As players, it always fascinates me. If my boss at work got sacked, I'd be asking, I want to know what's happened. I suppose this probably still won't tell me, but as players, do you get told anything other than he's gone?
No, nothing. Nothing. We just get told in the next day and say the manager's away. Whoever's taking charge until someone comes in or whatever. That's all we get told. We never get told why or anything, really.
I don't know why. It's just in my brain. It just seems crazy to me. I don't know why. It feels like a different world at times.
No, I understand. Because you meet fans that they always say, "Oh, what happened?" As if we know, but actually, as players, you probably know before us. We don't get told. We actually don't get told anything, and that's the truth. And that's not just Rotherham. That's done at every club I've been at. To be honest.
Fair enough. And then Neil Redfearn comes in. It took a couple of weeks, didn't it? It was quite a short period. His reign was quite brief. But again, it started off with some positive performance, maybe not the positive results, but from a fan point of view, there were a very positive sign of intent in performances. How was Neil Redfearn to start with?
I thought he was brilliant. I think as a coach, he's up there with one of the best I've worked with. As a coach, very good coach. I think as a person, he was a really nice guy as well. I was a bit gutted when he left, to be honest. I thought him and Eric Black were really good coaches. I thought we had proper coaches there. But at the end of the day, it's a results-driven business. And we were on a downward spiral, really, at that point when he did get the sack. But as a person and as a coach, I thought he was brilliant, to be honest.
Yeah, like you say, the results didn't work. I think it was we lost to Charlton at home and then Bolton away when they were down with us, weren't they? And they appeared to be the sort of final nails in the coffin for him, didn't they?
Yeah, I think actually building up to that, I think the players had a wee feeling that he was under pressure because of the results, and then the Bolton away was the nail in the coffin. But I don't think they actually played that bad day games. I think it was silly mistakes that cost us at the end of the day. But as I say, it's a results-driven business, and he had to go. But yeah, I was a bit gutted when he left, to be honest.
Yeah, it was strange to fan because when he came in as a project, they built it as a project, didn't they? They built it. It's going to bring in an under 23s team, and there's going to be a long-term project. And you don't accept relegation, but you say, right, if there's going to be a long-term project, if we're going to get relegated, as long as we've got a plan in place, you can sort of understand it. I assume that's the same for the players. We've sort of been told about this plan, and then off we go. It's gone.
Yeah, I can see your point. Yeah, well, obviously, from my point of view, if he was going to go down that route, I was in my 30s then. I wouldn't be part of that.
Yeah,
but I think every club, if you're going to be doing a young route, do need experienced guys to show these young guys how to do it day in, day out. And I think most successful teams do have experienced guys. You've still got obviously Woody there, who's a good pro and leads the example. I think you do need it, but I can see what you mean. How maybe he did play too many young ones at the time. Maybe should have played a wee bit more experienced team and gradually integrated these younger ones. But who knows? He done it his way, and I think if you're going to get a sack, you do it with your own sword. To be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. To have had a good couple of wins, the Leeds win away particularly stands out as a very good result. I remember on the day there was a lot of talk from him about how because he got sacked from Leeds. Again, did he use a bit of a Steve Evans trick and use that as a motivation for the players, or was it not sort of mentioned his history with them?
No, he didn't actually mention it. It wasn't that type. It was more calm and composed. But I think if you kind of got up for a game against Leeds at Ellen Road, there's something wrong.
Yeah, you don't really want to be playing football, should you?
Yeah. Exactly. So, I think he brought me in that game. That was my first game back for him. I think we won. Yeah, 1-0. Joe scored, actually, Joe Newell.
Did, yeah.
So, yeah, that was a good day. It's always nice to beat Leeds, isn't it? So,
yeah, absolutely.
And then Neil Warnock comes in, and again, this was sort of out of the blue for Rotherham fans. It was Redfearn's gone. You're almost staring at the bow. We're in a really bad position from a table point of view. And then Warnock comes in. He knows what he's doing. We've got a good chance here. What was he like when what was the first time meeting Neil Warnock like? Because I can't imagine what he's like first time around.
Well, the first meeting we had, he actually said to us, "What am I doing here? Have you seen your fixtures?" I can't even get a clean pair of socks. What's going on here? That was his, God's honest truth, that was his first meeting, and we were like, just looking at what's going on here? But the man was a genius, honestly, a genius. The way he got the team playing, it just suited us down to a T. Honestly, I genuinely believe if he come back the year after, we'd have been fighting for promotion. Without a doubt.
Yeah. What could have been that?
Oh, stop it. Stop.
Yeah. I mean, we're only in charge for 16 or so games, but we could probably spend an hour talking about all the games.
What was 11 games unbeaten?
11 games unbeaten, yeah.
11 and that was probably the top 6 we played in that as well.
I think it would have been not far off.
Middlesbrough,
Wednesday, Ipswich were up there at the time.
I just felt under him the way he set us up. Yeah, I just felt under him the way he set us up and the way he got the team playing that we could beat anyone in our day. I genuinely believe that we were going out there and we were going to win. There was no one going to score against us and we would score. That's genuinely the way I felt playing under him and how he set us up. It was brilliant, even to get Greg playing in that midfield role and just working along the road. But it was brilliant. So it was a genius, honestly, a genius.
It looks so simple. From the outside when you watch a Neil Warnock team, it all looks really simple. But it can't be simple, otherwise everybody else would do it, wouldn't they? What is there a secret to it, do you think? Or is it just great with people?
Yeah, but he just knew how to manage. Like, don't get me wrong, he gave me pelters every day. Every day he gave me pelters. But yeah, then he would pull me to the side. I need to give you some just to keep the boys' spirits up and that. Because he knew I could take it. Obviously, he made me captain, even though Lee was club captain. Yeah, it was brilliant. He just loved the fight, and I think it just suited the team we had at the time. And then you could see that he went to Cardiff, and he pretty much done the same as what he did with us at Cardiff. Just made them hard to beat, big long throws, and they ended up getting promoted.
Yeah, he seems like the type of manager that would suit people like all you and Woody are proper old school defenders. And it seemed like just put you two together and make it difficult to break down for that centre. Try and get through you two. And that just made us so solid. And it just builds confidence the rest of the team.
Yeah, well, me and Woody did a wee run of games then. But he ended up switching Woody with, I think it was Doyle at the time. They came in and out of the team.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think, obviously, it was pretty much man for man, Neil. So... if there was a big guy, I would go and mark the big guy, and then Doyle would get the fast one. But if there was two big guys, Woody would come in. So, yeah, he suited us in the way he did it. But I think it's like myself and Woody that we don't actually. I know you're saying old school defender. I think the both of us could play as well when we get time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I think teams didn't realise that, and they tried to leave us on the ball sometimes, and we could play. So. It did suit us.
Yeah, let's talk about a couple of the games because some cracking games. The Sheffield Wednesday one is the earliest one. South Yorkshire derby. Neil Warnock in charge of a South Yorkshire derby. He always beats Wednesday. What's Neil Warnock's team talk going to Hillsborough? I can only imagine.
He loved it. He loved all of that. Even getting off the bus and all their fans and that. He was melting it, walking in, winding them all up. So it was brilliant. It was just, I think, what was his team talk? I'm sure it was something down along the lines of, I've never been beat here. If I get beat here or something, I'll not be back. Or something crazy like that. And then when we beat them 1-0, he was like, right, okay, I'll see you Friday. I'm going home for a swim in my swimming pool and I'm driving my Aston Martin. See you later.
The more I hear about him, the more I just love him. It's just great.
Yeah. I was gutted he never stayed the year after.
The next one, again, we could talk about this run forever, but the 3-3 against Derby. Again, one of just the best 10 minutes of football New York's ever seen, possibly. How crazy was that?
It was amazing. What a day that was. Even down to the fact that they taken some of the players off the rest of them and brought players on. We'd go and get 4 and 5. Because they were quite disrespectful that day, because they were actually really disrespectful, and then when we come back, what a feeling, what a day that was amazing. I've never seen anything like that before, ever.
It's funny actually, it's funny you should say that, because when we got our first, there were 1 or 2 Derby fans who have seen that before, because you could tell they were literally, as we got our first goal, there were Derby supporters sat in that away end with their heads in their hands, because they knew what were coming. Genuinely, the people just stood there like that because they knew, and lo and behold, it happened. Fabulous.
I thought we could end up winning the game in the end.
I know. Yeah. At the end, when they've just got 8,000 people singing "Campy, Campy, what's the score?" We're just glorious.
If the Scalpy always take pelters off them, didn't he?
They did that, yeah. Brilliant. And well, I haven't mentioned the Leeds game. The Leeds 2-1 win, also at home. When I think we down to 10 men on, and Derbyshire or Frecklington got sent off.
Yeah, someone did get sent off, didn't they? I don't think it was Derbyshire. Was it Dab? No, because was it Dabs and Freck scored the penalty? Is that right?
Freck scored the penalty, didn't he? Yeah, because their keeper got sent off as well, didn't he, for their foul? It was Derbyshire. Yeah, Derbyshire got sent off. I think it was rescinded though. Right.
Okay. Yeah, that was a great one as well. I think was Steve Evans not their manager? No,
he was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
He was. Yeah. So obviously, nice to beat them.
Yeah, quality. And then the final one, that's the one that you scored in. You finally scored in MK Dons 4-0 away, which secured survival basically. Again, a superb away performance in a game where it needed to be. Again, you want Neil Warnock in charge of your team for those sort of games, I suppose.
100%. I just had a funny feeling that we'd win that game comfortable that day. I don't think he got on with the boy Robertson. He is proper fired up before that game, the manager.
Carl Robinson,
nobody gets on with Carl Robinson.
I don't know why. I don't like us.
Last time in League One, when we went to play Oxford at their place, they locked our team out of the stadium. So Paul Warne and they turned up on the coach and they locked the stadium and didn't let him in.
Yeah,
that's Carl Robinson. Honestly, that's absolute truth. He's not a fan of Rotherham at all. And it might be because of you and you scoring that goal against him, Kirk. I don't know, but
other Rotherham players scored against him.
Yeah. A superb day. I don't know how away fans they were, but again, they tried to put us as far away from the pitch as possible. It felt like, just. Say again, sorry.
Why put you up in the second tier? Why not just fill behind the goals?
30,000 empty seats and put us up there.
Yeah, I know. Typical, huh? But no, well, that was a great day. It was fond memories of that. As you say, finally scoring after missing about 30 sittles. But yeah.
You couldn't have your glory too much because Richie Smallwood then went and scored a bit of a stun after you as well. So he stole a bit of a limelight, didn't he?
Oh, that was a fluke. He's got his chin on his foot and a big lobber. I still wind him up about
that. Yeah, quality day. Was that for you as players? It wasn't technically a job done, but I think we were 9 points clear with something like 3 or 5, 6 games left. Did it feel like job done after that?
Yeah, I think so. I think we all kind of thought that after the game. That was it. Pretty much done. I couldn't see them winning 4 in the bounce and us losing 4. As I say, we were in the frame of mind where we would go and beat anyone, to be honest. And then obviously we got the point at Wolves, which clearly sealed it.
Yeah, and another question about Neil Warnock teams. It seems to me that as soon as Neil Warnock's teams are safe or whatever they've job done, the results to drop off is a bit harsh, but something changes, doesn't it? From the outside, it seems like something changes. Is it just taking the steam off? Is it just letting play? What is that?
I actually don't know because I know what you're saying. We ended up losing the final 2. Is that right? Yeah.
5-1 to the whole last game.
Yeah. The manager went nuts after that game, to be honest, because he wasn't happy with the performance.
Right.
I can remember him at half time as well. I don't know whether it was a mindset. Personally, it wasn't a mindset. I had the mindset I want to win every game. But maybe some players thought, right, job done. Let's go on the beach. But as I say, the manager and the staff, it was not as if training eased or anything. Training was still high tempo, and he still wanted to win every game. So he wasn't happy after that.
Fair enough, yeah. It's just even with Middlesbrough and Cardiff, it's just weird. It's obviously, like I said, training's everything's still the same. It just seems to be him.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you say. It's job done. Players think it's job done. I don't like any of these tackles. Why would I go for that 50-50? It's one of those things. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe, as you say, I'm a bit old school with some of them. I would throw my head in or foot in no matter what. If it's a training game or anything.
Yeah, and so I would say Neil Warnock leaves. It was only on a temporary contract, and as a fan, we probably thought it was a slim possibility it would stay. But again, from a fan point of view, we heard a lot of whispers that everything was almost agreed and everything looks like he's staying. I suppose you were on holiday at the time. How did you find out that he'd left, and what were your feelings up until he went?
He phoned me. Because I was out of contract at the time. Actually. Right. So he phoned me and he was like, I think I'm going to Nottingham Forest. So at the time, you're coming with me. It was one of those. So yeah, I was like, well, you need to make an offer because I'm going to Rotherham. I love it there. Family settled, as I say. Didn't want to move. I wanted him to stay. And then eventually, I think it was a week later, I'd agreed to sign with Rotherham again, and I phoned him and I said, look, I'm going to go to Rotherham, and he was like, you're probably like, I'm not going to Forest anyway now. But I was, I was like, all right, fair enough, Gaffer, keep in touch, and that was it. But I genuinely didn't want to leave. It was him that phoned me saying we'll go to Forest, and it never came about that he went there.
Yeah, they could have done with something like Warnock to where they've ended up now.
Yeah.
Then comes the Alan Stubbs era. When we signed him, we signed a cup-winning manager from Scotland. You know, he's just won the Scottish FA Cup, the biggest trophy in Scotland. We're all getting excited because when he came in, he's talking up a playoff bid. What, as a player, getting like somebody who's just done that in Scotland to come down here, they must be pretty excited to get him in.
Yeah. It was a hard one. I didn't know much about him, to be honest, at the time. And obviously, he phoned me. I think Stubbsy was a great guy. He was one of the nicest managers I've played for. He was a great guy. It was a good environment to work in. It just never worked out. But I think it changed the squad. You had a squad there that was winning. You get rid of Matty, Derbyshire straight away, which I thought was strange at the time. And then we never really brought anyone in to replace him until Dexter came at the end of the window. But I thought if you're going to get rid of Matty so early in the summer, hopefully you've got someone lined straight up. I think recruitment's huge for a manager, if I'm being honest. And that's probably why Steve done so well. Maybe because he could bring in 60 players, who knows? But I think the recruitment at the time was probably not enough experience, I would say. I think the players he brought in were good players and turned out to be good players for Rotherham, like your Will Volks and that. But I think the step up at the time was maybe a bit too much. He could have been doing with someone to help him along the way and come into the team. But I think in terms of the club, they probably done the club a turn by bringing these players in because the club went go and got a turnover off them, moving on to bigger clubs with it. So, yeah, it was, as I say, I really enjoyed it under Alan, but for that season, after pre-season, was a write-off for me actually getting the back operation. So it was a difficult season for me that year, to be honest.
Yeah, it felt like a little bit of him from the outside that he put a lot of eggs in Freckleton being fit, and he put a lot of eggs in you being fit, and you were good. It felt like you guys were going to be key to be those experienced players. I think Freck's got injured on day one, and like I said, you got a bad injury as well. I think that's just sucked away, and then they just couldn't replace everybody we tried to sign. It felt like somebody else picked us to it, and I think I might be wrong, but it felt like you two being injured were a massive blow to him.
Yeah, well, he did say that to us, to be honest. The manager at the time, he says, "Yous are killing me, the both of yous." But what can you do though? That's football. Sometimes these things happen. Injuries do. I can't speak for Freckling. I was frustrated as anyone. I just had done a great pre-season. I felt good, and then actually the Tuesday before the Wolves game, the first game, I twisted my back in training, and I probably shouldn't have played against Wolves, and that's why I think I needed the back operation, because I played injured. But I was one of the types, if I could roll out there, I would, and just play.
The area of that, go on, mate.
That Wolves game, that first half of that Wolves game, was probably one of the best halves of football I've seen a Rotherham United team play in as long as I can remember. And I remember sitting at half-time thinking, you know what? If this is what it's going to be like, we are going to be up there. We are going to be challenging, no question, because it was absolutely excellent. And then it kind of just petered out, didn't it? It didn't happen again, unfortunately. But I just thought I'd throw that one in there for what it's worth.
Yeah, no, I thought he had good ideas, and the way he wanted to play was probably completely different to what you fans were used to in the previous years. he wanted total football, playing out for the back. I don't know what happened. It just one of those things that it didn't work out, and then a couple of bad results, and he was probably quite a calm guy. He never ranted and raved, and probably, I don't know, I can't speak for yourself, but I think Rotherham fans are like myself. They come from a working background. They want to see passion. They want to see players giving their all. Managers, when it's not working out, having a go at people, saying. And he wasn't that type.
No.
And for whatever reason, it didn't work out. But sometimes that happens in football, it just doesn't work out. And you move on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Talking of not working out, the next manager came in. Again, you were just throughout this. But Kenny Jackett comes in for, I think, 5 games. Again, we're talking about the Steve Evans departure being a bit strange. This Kenny Jackett one must have been really strange to find out he left so soon.
As I say, I never had much deals with him. That whole season was pretty much a wipeout for me. I don't even know, what did I play? 4 games if I'm lucky. So I never really got to work with him. I was in the physio room, but it was a strange one. I don't think he was sacked. I think he just walked. So us players were a bit like, we don't know what's going on. And we never found out why he walked. I don't know if there's any rumours of that, but it was one of those ones. He just left and never said bye.
No, there's no positive rumours.
The rumour was transfer budget, weren't it?
Yeah.
I think the rumour was that it was.
Sorry?
He felt he'd been promised a transfer budget, or he had been promised a transfer budget, or whatever, and that didn't materialise, and he didn't feel as though he was able to move the club forward, I think is the official line. But we'll see.
Unofficial line.
Who knows? Unofficial line, sorry. But yeah. It's my assumption.
Yeah. Very strange one.
But ultimately, from a club's point of view, it led on to what we've got now, didn't it?
Yeah, it
did. Yeah.
Faulty.
Yeah, well, again, you were injured for the start of that, but you obviously played a few games under Warney. Those first games, I mean, me and Mick were certainly there for that Burton game away, where you were basically in tears on the touchline after the game, just because he'd lost the game. It meant so much to him. What was those first couple of months like under Warney, being his first time in a job?
God, it's quite difficult for me to speak about that now because I was so close to Warney. Like me and Warney were so close off before he became the manager. But obviously me having my back operation and then doing my back again really was a tough one for me to take. So I couldn't really help him, and I played 1 game or 2 games, was it, for him? The Leeds away, probably.
Yeah, and Norwich at home.
And Norwich at home, where we won. You actually won that. And then I done my back on the Tuesday in the gym doing my deadlift, which I probably shouldn't have been doing after a back operation, but I didn't know any different. That's what I get told to do, so I did it, and then ended up having to get another back up, and that wiped my season out, and so I never actually really got to work under Paul, really. I'm just lucky that Ross, the fitness coach who's still at Rotherham, come in. He probably saved my career, my footballing career, to be honest, because he had done his back before and he knew what rehab to do, and I'd done his rehab and he got me back playing, or I probably wouldn't have played again, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but with back injuries, they can be deadly serious, can't they? So,
so that was difficult to take.
Yeah, well, ended in disaster in that season, unfortunately. But that ended your time with us. The move to Kilmarnock, I think Paul Warne described it as the best. I haven't got the quote in front of me, but a good move for all parties. Did you feel like your time at Rotherham had come to its timely end, or would you have been happy to stay on?
No, Paul put the end to that, no me. Paul said I wouldn't play, so I had to move on. So that's why.
Right. Okay. I'm surprised at that. Yeah. So I felt like as a fan that you would be a great guy to have around in League One. If we're going to struggle, we're going to get down in the trenches like we had to in the Warnock times. Let's get Woody and Broadfoot back again.
It was one of the things. I've nothing against Paul. It was his decision. As I say, end of the day, he told me at the end of that season when he took over that I wouldn't play for him the next season. So I had to move on, and after that, I was a bit. After the season I had, not playing much, I just thought, right, let's just get home, get the family home then, because me personally, I'd still be living in Rotherham right now. I loved it there. We would have settled there. We wouldn't have moved. But that's one of those things in football. No hard feelings. Move on. And he's done a great job. I knew he would do a good job. He's a motivator. He's a people's person. He loves positive. But maybe I was too moany for him. I don't know, because I demanded so much with so many players, and if they never did it, I let them know about it. But that's just the way I was brought up through playing with Rangers. I played with so many demanding players. If you don't do it, you get told, and that was one of those things.
Yeah, and I suppose it's good that a manager up front. All managers going to make hard decisions, but he could have just let your contract run down and not play it. If open, honest up front, and trying to get you a good move to, like, say, home.
Yeah, as I say, maybe if I had said no, I'll stay and show you. But I just come off a back operation. Yeah, 2 backs. Was I going to be the same player? I didn't know. Maybe that's what he was thinking. Was he thinking I was going to be the same player?
Yeah.
And I got offered a 3-year deal at Kilmarnock to go home. So, and if I wasn't going to play, I thought, well, why not go home and play, see out my career? And there you go. And lucky enough, I was one of those types. I worked the whole summer. I got myself fit and touch wood. And I never lost an awful lot, and I'm still the player I was. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I did enjoy watching you play in Scotland, upsetting every winning penalties, and I've got to ask about winning penalties. I've never seen a defender win penalties as well as you. Is there a secret to it
that you can reveal before you retire?
No. I don't know. Just be quicker and then don't let me get my body in. I don't know. I think it's like fans love to give it, don't they? So I give it back. So if you're going to give it, you're going to get it back, and it's all banned at the end of the day. So as well as you've probably seen that when I just try to wind players up during games and things like that. Just any advantage helps.
Yeah. It does, absolutely. Danny has got some quick fire questions. We'll finish off some quick fire questions. Danny, have you got your paper at the ready?
I do. Okay. So, what is your best memory in a Millie shirt?
Okay.
Do you want me to run through all the questions, or do you want to just answer them one as we go?
Sorry, mate, you froze there.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to answer them one at a time, or shall I just run through them all?
No. I'll just answer them one at a time then.
Right. Okay. So, best memory in a Millie shirt.
Probably scoring against MK Dons and just in that corner with the fans. I've got to say, it gave me goosebumps and it was brilliant.
Okay, best memory in any other shirt?
Scoring for my country in my debut.
Wow. That's not bad, is it?
Not bad at all. Most difficult opponent you faced in England?
England. Andre Gray.
And what about in Scotland?
Scotland. Probably Aidan McGeady.
Good player.
Nice. And right, what I want you to do now is create a five-a-side team with yourself. What other 4 players are in your squad?
From my whole career or Rotherham players?
Whatever you like, mate.
Okay. So Steve Davis has got to be in there. Chris Boyd for goals. I need a goal at the end, don't I? So Lee Camp. Got to go Barry Ferguson. And Pedro Mendes.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Right, that is my quick fire questions. But I do have one question. I have one question that my mate wanted me to ask you. Do you remember when you were at Rotherham? Every Halloween, there was someone who knocked on your door and asked you to sign his Rotherham shirt.
Yeah, I love my time with my wee estate. Halloween was brilliant in my estate. I think he only done it once. That's for his top signed. It wasn't every year, was it?
That's what he said to me. He said every year he used to nip round and ask.
It's going to take some editing this for you, Mick. The audio's easy.
I've not been editing it. I'm in Wales, mate.
Go back. Hello.
Hi guys, sorry.
Vodafone Wi-Fi has broken the Scottish Wi-Fi. Oh no. Mum just said she's turned the phone off.
Is that going to help? Is that going to help Wi-Fi in Scotland or Wales? Because mine's been all right tonight, to be fair.
Yeah, mixing Wales and.
Surprised. Well, Wi-Fi this far up.
Mick, Danny, anything else you want to ask Kirk? Because we've taken up more than enough his time already.
Yeah.
No, what was your question? I never got it.
Yeah,
the Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the end. Yeah, I said, yeah, no. Did they live in the estate? Like, because there was a wee guy that came at Halloween with a top, but he never came every year. He came once a year. But no, that was a great wee estate. It was up in Worth. I used to live. So it was a brilliant wee estate. So it was.
Yeah, he used to live on the estate, and it says every Halloween he used to nip round and try and get his shirt signed.
And a sweetie.
Yeah. So there you go, Charlie. There you go, Charlie. If you're listening, he does remember a wee lad nipping it round to get his shirt signed.
Brilliant. So thank you, everybody, for listening, watching. I hope you've enjoyed this because I think it's been superb. And Kirk, thank you very much for your time at Rotherham and for taking your time out to spend an hour with us tonight. It's been superb, mate. Thank you very much.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Pringle looking towards Agard. Ravel.